Hey, everybody, it's John Corelli, your average guy with his average guy opinion. Today is episode 77. I'm getting there, I'm getting close to 100, and I'm right on time. Today is March 18th, the 77th day of the year, and I'm doing the 77th episode, so happy to be keeping up with this. Um, it's the day after St. Patrick's Day. If you are hungover, I dedicate this episode to you. I doubt you are hungover if you're watching me. You're probably way too old to get that drunk on a Wednesday night. But hey, you never know. So if you're sobering up with me, thank you. If you're just watching and supporting me, thank you. I appreciate you. I talk about some of my experiences, not too much about alcohol so much, maybe a little bit. I want to talk more about weed because people do sometimes have questions about that. Because we here in Colorado legalized recreational marijuana about 8 years ago, back in actually November of 2012. So it's been like 8.5 years. It's been kind of a bumpy road sometimes. I voted for it. It was called Amendment 64. Um, and now I'm not so sure if I should have voted for it or not. There are some good things that have come out of legalizing weed. There's some not so great things. Uh, like, for instance, driving around town is definitely worse. It's worse for a lot of reasons. I'm not going to only blame weed. I mean, people text now more than ever. We have a lot of in what's the word I'm looking for? Well, it's a melting pot city, so we have a lot of immigrants, so to speak, from other states. A lot of Californians, a lot of people from the Midwest, people from all over come here. They're used to doing their own driving style, and all these driving styles do not mesh. So driving here is crazy now. We have just so many people too. We don't have the infrastructure is trying to grow with the growth of the city, and yeah. But here's the thing about weed. A lot of people, and I feel like myself included, back in 2012 said, "Hey, you do what you want with your body. You know what? Who is the government or anyone to tell you what you can ingest and not ingest, to be honest?" However, I also was counting on people to have the personal responsibility to not get behind the wheel, not act like jackasses. And when people say marijuana has killed zero people, that's not true. It has killed very few people, let's be honest. As far as we know, I still am not a big believer that putting smoke into your lungs is a good idea. Whether it has all the garbage that a cigarette has in it or very little garbage like marijuana has in it, it's still not a good idea to purposely put smoke in your lungs. So there's that. It also does impair you. Let's not lie about this. It's not nearly the impairment rate that alcohol is, but I can tell you, especially with what they've done to weed in the last 10 years, how they've made it rocket fuel to get you high in an instant, you are definitely impaired. We didn't vote to have 20 to have recreational because we to make all the medicinal arguments. I get tired of that. People are like, well, it does all these great things for you. You know, a lot of people have chronic pain. I go, yeah, that's the reason for medicinal marijuana. The reason for recreational, exactly that, recreational, to get high, which is fine. You want to get high, but just don't get behind the wheel. And like I said, I overestimated, unfortunately, as I often have in my life, the general public to be responsible when they do that. Alcohol, way worse. I'm not even going to argue that. People are like, well, alcohol's way worse. Yeah. The way worse doesn't make the bad thing less bad, okay? Just because there are horrific numbers of people dying in auto accidents and violence through alcohol does not mean marijuana is responsible for nothing, okay? And like I said, when I smoked weed in the '90s, which wasn't much, I'm all just a little bit about me as far as when it comes to alcohol and marijuana, which let's call those low level drugs, right? As far as the damage they do, at least to you, to your body, or to your life. You know, people are there. Millions of functional alcoholics in this world, including my stepfather, who did it for like he was pretty hardcore for 10 or 20 years. Built a business, kept fed, put a roof over my head and food in my mouth while he drank. He wasn't drinking on the job. He would come home and he would have a big old bourbon and water, and that was the way he got through life at that point in his life. And finally, when he was around 40, I think my mother said, "Yeah, you gotta stop." And he's just like, "All right." And this is the type of man my stepfather is. He just stopped. One day he stopped smoking, flicked the butt away. One day stopped drinking, threw the glass away, the bottle away, and just moved on. And then he came back like 20 years later and has now he can have a wine occasionally. That's the power of his brain. That's something I couldn't do. I'm lucky I was never an addict in the first place. I'm on the other end of the spectrum. I'm a lightweight. I've never been able to handle a lot of any of that stuff. My mother and my biological father are both very lightweights as well. A couple glasses of wine and we get silly. So, ladies. But for real, same with weed. Back in the 90s when it was dirt weed and you bought it from a guy on a corner or a guy your friend knew, one joint and I was silly and I was eating pizza and laughing the rest of the night. So for me personally, that's my lightweightness. And I will continue to talk about weed maybe in another episode, but I also want to talk to you guys about my personal drug use, which is pretty limited. So like I said, the first time I got drunk, I was 19. First time I smoked weed, got high on weed, I was also 19, doing it with my friends. I used to travel up to their college, UNC, up in Greeley University, Northern Colorado. I was down here in Denver, but my two best friends were up there, so I'd go travel up there, spend the weekend up there, do all the stupid things that college students do. But yeah, I'm lightweight with that stuff. In 1990, I dropped acid. Did it one time, scared the crap out of me. I also got a very full experience on it. We went to a bar. I had sex with my girlfriend. Everything was super intense. I was up all night. I got a little paranoid, which I think honestly you should when your brain is doing the things that acid will do to your brain. A lot of people laughed at me and said, "You just had a bad trip." No, I didn't have a bad trip. I go, I need control. That's the way this guy works, and I can't just let go. Same with weed these days. I get super paranoid because, like I said earlier, it's rocket fuel now. It's not like smoke a joint and eat a pizza and go to bed, laugh your ass off, maybe watch some stupid movie like Dumb and Dumber. Now it's you're high and you start, at least me, I get tense. I feel in my neck. It's doing the exact opposite of what it should do. I'm all tense and I feel like I'm on acid back in 1990 and I'm talking like this and I'm getting a little paranoid. I'm like, so the several times I've done weed in the last 8 years, basically since it was legal, I've maybe done it 5 times. It was, I think I smoked twice and had 3 edibles. Every time, last time I just did it back in November, my friend Kathy gave me an edible and it was like I think it was 10 milligrams, maybe 15. It's not considered a lot for most people. I was hating it for about 4 hours. I was hating life. It was just so I'm done with that stuff. Unless I have some severe pain in my future and can find the right elixir, I guess is the best way to put it. Some sort of weed cocktail that works for me. I don't plan on doing it ever again. It'll definitely be an edible. I won't smoke it. Maybe I'll get some CBD oil. For those of you outside of Colorado, you probably don't know the ins and outs of marijuana culture and what we've done. But the CBD oil is like an oil it's a topical. You can put on joints and supposedly makes it feel better. I haven't tried it yet. My joints aren't that bad yet. But I know, hey, at 53 and slightly overweight and still being active, I feel it sometimes. Felt it from snow shoveling for like the last 2 days. My back has felt it, my shoulders felt it. So maybe in my future that will be some sort of pain relief. For now, I'm good. I didn't even need to take any ibuprofen after shoveling like thousands of cubic feet of snow, so I'm good. But that's, I just wanted to tell you that's my kind of take on weed and stuff here. Like I say, it's a personal responsibility thing, and frankly, a lot of people haven't done a very good job being personally responsible. I think that's our society. We're very greedy. Like I say, it's way better than alcohol. Alcohol, I found out, is responsible or is behind 65% of documented violent acts. Like in this country, it's like, holy shit, maybe prohibition wasn't such a bad idea. My God. Having said that, I will be up in Longmont, probably having a beer or two. Definitely not smoking any weed. Gonna do a little comedy up there. The place is called Abbott and Wallace. It is a distillery, so I probably have a beer or two, tell some jokes, and talk to you guys next time. See you on the other side, as they sometimes say. That's episode 77. That's my experiences with weed, alcohol, and acid. Bye.